I wonder what he's thinking about up there. Or if he's even thinking at all.
If you can think and not make thoughts your aim.
Because if you are living according to your heart fully, then you're living life as it's meant to be lived. Whether you have to run or hide doesn't make any difference. You're living it.
You just have to accept inconsistency, and that makes you consistent, because like trying to consciously control unconscious movements like aiming, and that just never works. Like you have to unconsciously play. That's what the flow state is. It's just letting your body react to like the movements that it knows to do.
Flow is something unnatural. It's not a state that you can generate on demand. It requires focus, discipline, and an astute ability to shut down the cacophonous mumbling of your ego.
Bro, there's this sacred state of high performance called the flow state, and I need to put you onto it right now. So the reason why the flow state is important and can actually help you and improve your life is because people who can enter these states of flows are reported as being happier in their general life. And if you look at the videos I've released, the best videos I dropped, I was in flow state the entire time, I promise you. There was this state of inspiration I just entered when I made my biggest videos, and all of the information somewhat came to me. It kind of penetrated me. Pause on that, but yeah, it flew through, bro. It was like coming from the ether. Again, pause.
Flow is so powerful that it can actually lead to ecstasy. The word ecstasy in classical Greek literature refers to the removal of the mind or body from its normal place of function.
Anything at all. Just breathe and let whatever emotion flows through you naturally. Let whatever you feel flow through you naturally. If you think something is beautiful, like that tree, like for the first time you turn and you say, holy crap, I never noticed this. This is really freaking beautiful.
Remember, there is no special state you are supposed to be in. Simply let yourself be aware of whatever state you are in.
Flow for me is when skills meets challenge, but you also have to be in a calm state, right? So you got to imagine you're about to do one of the most daunting tasks of your life. You have this confidence, right? But you know that there's this challenge, but at the same time, you're relaxed and you have a very calm mind.
So when I was young, I was into competitive sports, i.e. hockey. So I played at provincial level in that sport. Now, when you play at provincial level, you tend to want to do your best. You tend to have a lot to prove. And what would happen with me is that I'd overthink a lot of my games, a lot of my movements, and it would actually make me play worse. Whereas I would find that there were some days where I didn't think a lot about what I was doing. I just played hockey. Sometimes I just played so my team would win. I just felt like I need to carry some of these players across the line, and I'd do a lot better in those games. Sometimes I'd be angry and in pain, and I'd also perform better than if I was just in my normal state, trying to think about things and actually trying to be a good player, which is ironic.
I haven't felt like that in competition in years. It was euphoric in that moment. You don't get that a lot in sports. When I finished, I was beaming. The audience is on their feet.
It describes the same effortless, spontaneous feeling that you get when you enter into this ecstatic state. This poet describes it as opening a door that floats up in the sky. Very similar description to what Albert Einstein gave as to how he imagined the forces of relativity when he was struggling with trying to understand how it worked.
Creative individuals show higher connectivity within and across brain hemispheres, particularly between the default mode network and the executive control network. So we have our default mode is basically how we're operating when we're not thinking, right? And then our executive control network is when we are thinking, when we're actually, focus on being in control of ourselves. So most people are not functioning, from what I believe, at executive level.
The conflict itself is what distracts you. You just have to accept everything that's there. Accept it for it is. Accept the fact that you're going to be inconsistent. Accept the fact that you're going to make errors. Accept the fact that you might not enter the flow state. Accept distractions that are like messing you up, and then you actually end up entering the flow state. Does that make sense?
State in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. He goes on to say that concentration is so intense that there is no attention left over to think about anything irrelevant or to worry about problems. Self-consciousness disappears and the sense of time becomes distorted.
Find a quiet environment, free from distracting noises or devices. Break your tasks into small, specific segments that are easy to track and learn from. Set clear end goals that are challenging but not frustratingly so. If you find the task to be tedious, set additional parameters to up the stakes. Most importantly, and perhaps most frustratingly, don't focus too much on reaching flow. That sort of distraction might just prevent you from finding it.
We're all capable of so much more than we know. That is a commonality across the board. It's the largest lesson that 30 years in studying peak performance has taught me. And the way I sort of like to think about it is motivation is what gets us into the game. Learning allows us to continue to play. Creativity is how we steer. And flow, which is optimal performance, is how we amplify all the results beyond all reasonable expectation.
Flow state is this powerful pill in my life, and I truly love the moments where I can experience it and harness it and use it to achieve. Obviously, it's not something that comes often, but I'm working on getting it to come as consistently as possible. How do you guys feel about flow state? Have you experienced these moments of flow in your life? Has it helped you? Has it hindered you? Let me know in the comments. This is Loy, signing off.